Hey guys, how you going? So today on BKRsport, we are back for another one of these How I Became videos. Yes, you guys have been asking for these for so long on streams. Obviously, we already have done a Chicago Cubs original How I Became video, and also the Gold Coast Titans in the National Rugby Leagues. We've done the baseball, we've done the NRL, and now we're back to America, because we're going to be doing the NBA today for my Chicago Bulls, baby. I'm wearing my beanie right now, wearing my shirt. I'm keen, let's get it. If you don't know what this series is all about, then firstly, you should have checked out the previous videos. But secondly, it's all about how I became a fan of this team and why I support them, because as you guys know, on this channel I stream literally everything. I do sports all over the world, and I do teams in that sport that aren't mine, and you know, it's just it's all over the shop. You know, we love it, we just love the sport. But I still do have my individual teams. Like, I do still have my love for an individual team. Well, I'll tell you if I don't, but in the basketball I definitely do. And I understand why it gets confusing, because they're like, well, why are you excited about the Utah Buddy Jazz? Why are you happy that Donovan Mitchell hit a shot? And I'm like, well, that's because I love the sport, man. I just I just love it. But I am actually a Chicago Bulls fan. But let's get into today's video and let's start talking about how I became a Chicago Bulls fan. Firstly, let's get two things out of the way. Number one, I am not a Bulls fan because of Michael Jordan or the 90s Bulls. Yes, obviously I appreciate it, but in the same sense, it's not really something that I take too much into account at all. Obviously, it's great to have that as the foundation of the franchise and something that is great historical-wise and still makes me happy for the people of Chicago, which is obviously a big reason for my support in general. But, you know, back in the 90s, I was born in 94, right? So that was the end of the first three-peat by Jordan, and by the end of the second three-peat, I was, what, 4 or 5 years old. So overall, I didn't get to see it, so I don't really take it too much into account, but great for the franchise itself to have that history. And secondly, no, I haven't become a Chicago Bulls fan this year because of how bloody sexy we're looking. Ooh! To understand my support, though, you do need to go back and realize that in the NBA, I'm not actually a, you know, long-term fan. I've probably been a fan since maybe around 2009, 2010 at a general level. When you're not from America, guys, you kind of have this acceptance that you don't really have a team necessarily. You kind of just follow players, especially in the NBA. It's a very individualized sport, right? So growing up in Australia, you know, you think of the Michael Jordans, you have the Kobe Bryant, so you can become a Bulls fan because of that, or you can become a Lakers fan because of Kobe, you know, Derrick Rose even for the Bulls as well. There are so many players that you individually take a liking to. That LeBron now at the Cavaliers, and well, now at the now at the Lakers, but he was at the Cavaliers and he was at the Miami Heat, so you could have easily done that. And with Australians, we're not really attributed to a specific area. We can kind of go for whoever we goddamn want. You know, it doesn't really matter. We just go for whatever we want to do. And myself, I became a fan in around 2009, 2010 as a general level, where I just enjoyed watching the sport. I was probably like, 15 or so, and I guess it's because I was just starting to really enjoy sport as a whole that I wanted to see everything for what it is. And yeah, I didn't have a team at all. I didn't care at all. Obviously, you guys will find out relatively soon about my love of the Detroit Lions, which is, yes, very depressing, but we'll get into that. And that was a whole different story in itself. But the basketball was probably the first American sport that I started to take a liking to, because it is very fast-paced, there is a lot of points scored, and it is very exciting. I had a couple of teams that I did have on the front of my mind, so realistically, I was more so catering towards them because I just enjoyed either the franchise itself or the city that they're from, because I know the city. So there was obviously the Chicago Bulls because I'd known them very well throughout growing up. I didn't watch them, but I knew them very well. The New York Knicks, you know, big city, New York. I've been there before, was very young though, didn't get to appreciate it for what it is, but you know, the New York Knicks are very successful, previously successful, and also a very big franchise, and now they're starving of success, but in the same sense, like at the time, you know, this team was quite big, and Madison Square Garden is renowned around the world. So the Knicks were definitely on the forefront of my mind. There was the Lakers because of Kobe and because of, I guess, you know, growing up with him being the guy that we'd always be like, Kobe, and shoot the ball, or shoot the piece of paper into the bin. And that was the extent of my guest support. Oh, was there anybody else realistically? There wasn't really anybody else. It was really just the Knicks, the Bulls, and the Lakers that I was considering to an extent, but I never was going to become a fan of anyone because I was just following around players and just what I kind of enjoyed at the time. At times, I've become a Jazz, I thought I was becoming a Jazz fan, or because I've got a Donovan Mitchell shirt in there. I liked watching the Dallas Mavericks at the early 2010s. Toronto was fun to watch at times. Yeah, I was all over the shop. I was just enjoying the sport. And there was the Boston Celtics too. I knew a lot of people who'd supported them, and they were a obviously very well-known franchise in Australia too. But I've never really been a fan of the colour green. I'm more of a person who is blue, as you'll see with most of my teams. The Gold Coast Titans, the Man City, Detroit Lions, Geelong Cats. All my teams, Fiji and Drua, even to an extent, all my teams are pretty much blue, besides the Queensland Maroons, who is a bit different to a normal team, plus, obviously, the Chicago Bulls now. But everybody else is pretty much blue, if you understand that. So yeah, no, I love the colour blue, and that mainly comes down to the fact that I don't like the colour red normally because of Man United, but I still prefer it over green. I'm just not a big fan of it. So that's why I didn't become a Boston Celtics fan. But come 2019, I actually decided to go to America. I wanted to go and enjoy some sports. I wanted to understand the culture. I wanted to go to a different place. I didn't want to go to an LA. I didn't want to go to a New York. I was going by myself. I was actually traveling through Las Vegas on the way because I wanted to go to the Sevens. But I had friends and family who lived in Chicago. They lived South Chicago, not in the rougher area of Chicago, but nearer to Indiana. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go there, I'm going to vlog some games there, and I'm going to, hopefully, I guess, maybe follow a team and figure out my sport for the team. Now, when I went there, the first game that I went to was the Chicago Bulls versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this was an amazing moment. I was really excited to get to this game. Obviously, the Bulls history, United Center. It was Chicago versus my Australian lad in Ben Simmons at the 76ers. Don't start me. But, it was, and there was also Joel Embiid. The Philadelphia 76ers were a good team. And Chicago weren't great. So I never really thought I was actually going to start following this franchise, because although I have a very painful history with my teams across all sports, I don't necessarily want to go out of my way to choose a team that's not playing bad. If I don't have to, I don't really want to. But in the same sense, no matter what, you will go through a tough support at some time. But you just need to find someone you're aligned with. Otherwise, it's not going to be any point just going for someone, because you have to really find a reason. So I went to Chicago, went to the game, and it took me about 3 times. I did the intro, and funnily enough, I actually had to walk around the stadium 3 times before I could actually muster up the courage, because there's so many people there. You can't do it outside. It's too cold outside. Oh, Chicago took off, baby. Chicago took off, baby. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. Oh my God. So I couldn't stay outside. I come inside and I did a lap 3 times, and it was a great game. It ended up being not a buzzer beater, but it was a game-winning layup by Zach LaVine with about a second to go there. Come on, Zach. Come on, Zach! Yes! Come on! That's what I'm talking about! Oh my goodness, Zach LaVine puts it in. They leave him open, and I'm pretty sure he got the foul call as well. So he's going to shoot 1. So no matter what, we're up by 1 with 1.6 seconds to go. Holy shit, what a game! I genuinely didn't even feel like I was a Bulls fan. I didn't really feel myself as a connection with the team just at the time. Even though they'd won the game, it was brilliant. They won the game and had a great time, and it was awesome. I was going crazy. But I can go crazy for literally anyone. I can really put myself with my mind in somebody else's fan base's kind of shoes, thought process, to get myself excited about that team. So it didn't really mean a great deal. Went back, and then we went to a couple more games. Obviously, one game, the Pistons versus Bulls. The Bulls were up by 20 at halftime, and the Pistons came back to win by 20, and that one made me want to projectile vomit. But I was starting to like the Bulls, but I still didn't really kind of care too much. But then, obviously, because I started going to Cubs games as well, I had the Blackhawks that I was going to, and I loved the city of Chicago. Like, I was obsessed with the city of Chicago. I started to feel pride behind the fact that I just loved the city, and the Chicago Bulls are attributed to that city. So I haven't really become a fan of the Bulls because I want to have a basketball team and I want to be a Bulls fan. I've become a fan of the Bulls because I'm proud of the city of Chicago and I want them to win for that city. They've been starved of success for so long. I know it's such a grindy city. It's such a hustle city. And for me, I see myself in a relative fashion. Obviously, it's very different. You know, you guys know with me on YouTube that I'm always pumping out content. I'm streaming this, streaming that, streaming this, streaming that. Lots of people are always like, do you sleep? You know, lots of people are always like, oh, thank you so much for the content. We have the Rugby Down on the podcast that I do as well. You know, we got the clip channel that I do for that. I have BK clips. I've got BK travel too. I haven't really been able to get into those, but I'm always wanting to continuously grow this because I absolutely love it. And I would say that I do hustle in comparison to what I'm loving doing. And that's where I kind of see myself as a bit of a comparison there from, you know, Gold Coast, Australia too. And there is actually a Gold Coast in Chicago too, mind you. But, you know, I attribute myself very similar to the mindset of nothing's given to you. You need to work for it and you need to put hard work into it. I can definitely put harder work into the channel. I can definitely put more out there, but I definitely put a lot of work still into this channel to grow it because I know that, you know, I've got good content. I do appreciate it. You can't create a YouTube channel and be who you are without backing yourself in, yeah? And although this may not seem relevant to the Chicago Bulls, it is, because it makes me proud of the city that I feel very similar with in that regard. So from then on, I've basically just been supporting the Chicago Bulls because I love Chicago. Now I'm actually a fan of the actual franchise, and I really enjoy the progression. Another thing with me is that although I don't go out of my way to support a team that's bad, at the time they were bad. At the time, they weren't great, man. You're up by 20 against the Pistons at halftime and lose by 20. Not great. The vlog is on the channel, by the way, if you want to go and check it out. But, you know, I don't go out of my way to follow a bad team. But sometimes bad teams can just follow me. And it is very tough. But, you know, I love seeing the progression from shithouse to not shithouse. As simply said, I love seeing the progression from bad to good. Because another thing for me that I believe in is that you will never understand the success without the bad times. And although a lot of people out there who support winning teams, they're going to be like, oh, I know how it feels. You don't know shit. Like, truly, you don't know shit. Like, if your team has won year after year after year after year after year, like Lakers fans, I'm sorry, but you don't get it. You'll never get it. And that's not bad because your team is so successful that you've got a different mindset and different perspective. In life, everything's about perspective. I have a very spiritual understanding of the word perspective and a very greater belief in that word that I know that you're not going to get what I'm saying here. You know, and for me, I'm not going to get what you're saying. But from my perspective, you will never understand the true, pure happiness that you find when your team wins after being terrible and giving you so many bad moments. You know, so many bad moments throughout your support. The lowest of low times, that's why I cry. That's why I get upset. That's why I am emotional at the end of games. Because I know how I felt at the worst, and wowee, we're actually winning now. I think back and I'm like, imagine what that BKRsport, if you transitioned him straight from there to here, how happy he would be. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I get my emotions from. And I guess that also did attribute to how I became a Bulls fan too, because they weren't great. I would never have gotten around them if they were fantastic. I never would have gotten around them if they were the best team ever, because although you will always be called a bandwagoner at some point, just because one, people don't know your history, or two, they don't care about your history, or three, just because he's a good team, you're automatically a bandwagoner. So this is my advice to everyone out there. Support whoever you damn well want to, because no matter what, whether you're a fan of a day for the championship team or you're a fan of 15 years and you've gone through the shit, you will always be still called bandwagoner because one, people aren't going to know you and your history and don't care about it when you do answer them back, because every person who has been a fan of a day will tell you they've been a fan for like 15, 20 years when they haven't been. So just support whoever you damn well want to do, man. Like, it doesn't really matter. You just need to understand yourself and find the team that's right for you. So that's pretty much me, to be honest with you, man. Obviously, you know, we love our sport. We love our NBA. And although it may seem like I may not be as invested in the Bulls as someone of 20 years, it's just not true. You know, you see with this channel that I'm streaming every single day. I'm creating content every single day. I'm as emotionally invested in this team as anybody else. You know, and I'm so proud of them when they win, because I know that the people of Chicago, who do face tough life and tough times, whether you're north side, south side, west side, there's no east side, but may as well just throw an east side there too. But it doesn't matter where you're from, there's still going to be people who find it tough there. And this is literally every city too. But this is my team. This is my perspective. This is my thought process. So I don't care right now about other places. I'm caring about Chicago. But everyone has their mental health issues. Everyone has their struggles and everyone has their dramas. So when a team wins, especially Chicago, I'm happy for the people there to have that moment of glory. That's why 2016 for the Cubs was so amazing. You know, and that's another reason why I also get emotional for other teams, because even if it's the Memphis Grizzlies or to an extent the Milwaukee Bucks, even the New York Knicks, and Knicks will be incredible. The moment the Knicks win again in Madison Square Garden I would want to be in New York when that happens. But I'm just an emotional kind of person, and I really do invest myself behind my support. And yeah, man, I'm just excited for the future with the Bulls, and I love that my team is Chicago. You know, my team is that team with that rich history, that rich culture, that rich belief of success and of winning. You know, they haven't been winning for a while, but they still have that 20 years ago, and I will now get to experience that. I didn't get to experience that with the Cubs. You know, I didn't get to experience it with the Cubs when they won in 2016. I came after them, similarly to the Bulls in a sense. I came after in 2019 as well and missed that moment. Right, but now I know that when/if, but I believe when the Bulls win the chip for the first time in 20, 30, 40, whatever years, I'll be there. And that's the main thing. I don't want to miss out on this one, because I know how happy Chicago was in 2016, but I really feel that the Bulls winning for the first time in 20, 30 years would be at a similar level in regards to the happiness of that city. And that's going to do us here for today's video, guys. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new around here. We do stream every single Chicago Bulls game, but even if you're not a Bulls fan, we stream literally every NBA game we possibly can. We do some NFL as well, so if you're an American, I'm obviously Australian, but I still absolutely love your sports, and I hope you do get around it. That's 3 videos so far. We've done the Bulls, we've done the Titans, we've done the Chicago Cubs. Maybe next we do Man City. Maybe next we do Manchester City. Or there is the Detroit Lions. I'm not too sure. We'll do one of them. But obviously, you'll have to find out by coming back and checking out the channel when that does come out. So, alrighty, guys. Appreciate you. Live your passion. That's the main thing I want to tell you guys. Live your passion. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Just keep grinding. Just keep hustling. And keep smashing out what you want to do. People will tell you can't do something, but you got to tell them, they know shit, baby. Just keep doing you. Live your passion. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.